So they're like not letting books on airplanes now, which actually totally makes sense to me because like the only books I've ever owned are the ones that like you open them up and there's a compartment inside with like whiskey or a gun. And like actually usually it's a gun that shoots whiskey because like, and that's actually, I've published like several books by now, and most of them are called like the Whiskey Gun Chronicles Volume 3 and the Whiskey Gun Chronicles Volume 8 because like 4, 5, and 6, and 7 were just like too hardcore. We had to skip over them. So next up we have the amazing Melanie Gideon, who we're incredibly lucky to have here tonight. And, sorry, what? Sorry, okay. I thought somebody was trying to. We are incredibly lucky to have her. She is the author of The Slippery Year, which has basically appeared on every best of list of 2009. And she writes in her book about feeling as though she's looking down on the world from a great height because actually during the writing of that book, she developed the ability to actually leave her body and become sort of a mega djinn and sort of floats just above the heliosphere. And she discovered that she was a refugee actually from like a magical world where her parents had come from, and they brought her when she was a small child. And you know, her parents had actually, there were many kinds of magic in this other magical world that she came from, and her parents were actually magical caterers who were in the garnish, in a land where garnishes had amazing powers. There was the sprig of transformation, which was basically like, I mean, you already all know about it, but the sprig of, for example, if you put it on a plate with like some salmon or something, whoever ate the sprig of, or even touched the sprig of transformation would be turned into a fish, and so on and so forth. And you know, you don't even need me to tell you about the aioli of paralysis or the bacon wrapped ball of death, because you already all know about that. But anyway, so she discovered that her parents had brought her here from that world when she was a small child because there had been a magical civil war between different types of magician, and she was sort of over whether, you know, catering magic was the one true magic, or, you know, finger painting magic, or various other types. She discovered, she finally, about the time she embraced her magical heritage, she actually felt as though she had been sort of coasting through her life, and you know, and then she sort of discovered that in fact everything in her life was full of magic and made of magic, and she could harness the magical, you know, awesomeness of everything in her everyday life and use that as a power source to make people forget that she owed them money, which basically she's been doing ever since. And so like now she just goes around borrowing fantastical sums, and then immediately afterwards nobody remembers that she owes the money, and so she basically is just rolling in cash, and if you're really nice to her she might throw some at you. So please welcome the amazing Melanie Gideon.